Well, folks, every problem that people have in their life, every bad decision, every weird idea that they have is now an identity. We can carry this pretty much to its logic. Well, folks, literally every bad decision that people make has now become an actual identity. You're a member of an identity group if you make weird, odd, strange decisions in your life. You have strange desires that you decide to enact in your daily life. This is now an identity. So congratulations to you. You too are a victim of American society. If, for example, you wish to be an adult who wears a baby diaper, every bad choice is now an identity. This is where we are as a culture. One of the fundamental distinctions between how the right thinks about life and how the left thinks about life is that the right believes that there are such things as immutable characteristics. Race is an immutable characteristic. Skin color, an immutable characteristic. Disability status, for example, immutable characteristics. And then there are all the other things in life. Personal choices, behaviors that you choose. These are not identities. These may be things that you do because you have a drive to do them. That's why people do virtually everything in their life. But there's a fundamental distinction between the things you choose to manifest in your behavior in life and the things that are immutable identities. The left has been obliterating that distinction for quite a while here, really since the 60s, when the left decided that somehow being black and being gay were somehow equivalent, which is absurd. Okay, being black is an immutable characteristic. When it comes to being gay, that is a desire. You can say the desire is immutable. You make that argument, but that's not the same thing as the behavior or the identification with the behavior or the identification with the desire. Okay, those are just fundamentally not, you can, again, that's not even an argument against gay rights. That's just saying that that is not the equivalent of black civil rights because they are not. They are not logically equivalent in any way. But putting that aside, what the left has basically done since the 60s is started to conflate personal decisions that you make in your life with an actual identity group. And once you do that, and the idea is you can't discriminate against identity groups, this now encompasses all sorts of behaviors, which is how you end up with this bizarre story from the Seattle Stranger, or as I used to do a radio show in Seattle, the Seattle Stranger, all about people who are adult baby diaper lovers. According to the Stranger, they face harmful stigma in their quest for comfort. And here's what the Seattle Stranger writes, quote, "What would it feel like to be a baby for a day? Your meals and clothes would be prepared for you. Your busy work schedule would be replaced with hours of mindless fun. All the responsibilities of adulthood would fade into the distance, giving way to a simpler life, if only for a short time. It's a fantasy that Seattle resident Smook has tried to suppress for most of his life. Growing up poor in Missouri, he had little access to children's toys or television, no friends to play with. In 2013, he found a group of people who enjoyed role-playing as babies or wearing adult diapers, called Adult Baby Diaper Lovers. He thought he'd found an opportunity to reclaim his childhood, yet he felt ashamed of his newfound interest in diapers. He was concerned about finances. He pushed the idea to the back of his mind, like a normal person. But then he decided, no, it's an identity. It's an identity. 1 year later, Leo, a condominium superintendent on the other side of the 49th parallel, lost his mom. At the suggestion of a close friend, the Ottawa, Ontario resident tried wearing diapers as a coping mechanism for his grief, only to discover the great comfort they brought. I did not realize that wearing a diaper is a coping mechanism for grief. See, we in Judaism, we have like a 7-day period called Shiva in which you consider mortality and you think about the person who died. But apparently in Ottawa, you slap on an adult diaper and crap yourself. And this is a form of comfort. Leo spent the next 8 years embracing the side of himself and exploring Ottawa's ABDL community. It's a community now. By the way, all we need is like one ivory tower department to legitimize this into a full-fledged identity group and demand that everybody now identify these people as babies. That a fully grown adult is the equivalent of a human baby. And there should be no mockery. No shame is involved. Smook spent those years coming to terms with his interest, finally taking the leap into Seattle's ABDL community in November 2022. This gave them both the opportunity to express their true selves, form strong friendships with people who understand them and feel love. But no fantasy lasts forever, says the Seattle Stranger. These identities come with many stigmas. Accusations of immaturity, irresponsibility around children, or even pedophilia run rampant in online spaces and news articles. ABDL have been assaulted, fired from their jobs, legally separated from their children for what community members and experts call harmless interests. Nevertheless, as the ABDL community continues to grow, more safe spaces are appearing in Washington, Maryland, and Ottawa for these kids at heart. That's good. I'm so glad that we have new identity groups based on grown-ass men pretending to be babies and wearing adult diapers. All behaviors are identities, and all identities must be protected. Therefore, all behaviors must be protected and have an equal outcome. Therefore, all of reality is somehow discriminatory. This is a great way to build a completely non-functioning society that collapses in on itself like a dying star. So obviously, we're going to do that. As Jews in Ukraine are celebrating Passover once again, Passover begins a little bit later this week. The threat of war is still a reality. Many are elderly Jews and Holocaust survivors who fled their homes and now find themselves seeking a place to live without food, without water, in desperate need of life's basic necessities. The International Fellowship of Christians and Jews has been in Ukraine every day since the war began. The fellowship's partners and volunteers are on the ground right now. They need help to reach even more Jewish lives with life-saving food. Even today, the need for Passover meals has reached levels they haven't seen before. They're helping elderly Jews in harm's way in Ukraine. They're also caring for orphaned children, families, Holocaust survivors living in extreme poverty throughout Israel and the former Soviet Union. There's a lot you can do right now. With a gift of just $25, you'll help provide one recipient with a Passover food box filled with matzah and other special Seder foods. Plus, today, they have a special matching challenge opportunity. Your gift will double in impact. So there's urgency because Passover is about to start, but also there's a matching program. So whatever you give is essentially doubled. Go to benforthefellowship.org or call 800-331-3737 to make a gift of just $25 to the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews to help rush a Passover food box. That's benforthefellowship.org or call 800-331-3737 to rush that Passover food box today. The fact is that it's hard to find great people to fill your job. Hiring can be a really, really difficult process, especially when you have a lot of open jobs and not enough people to fill those open jobs. Well, ZipRecruiter can help you fix this problem. It's the best place to find the right position, or if you're an employer, the right person to join the team. And ZipRecruiter helps you find the most qualified people for your roles fast. Right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/DailyWire. ZipRecruiter's matching technology helps you find the most qualified candidates for a wide range of roles. If you see a candidate you like, you can easily send them a personal invite so they're more likely to apply. Their user-friendly dashboard makes it easy to filter, review, and rate your candidates all from one place. See why the majority of employers count on ZipRecruiter. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter will get a quality candidate within day one. Use my exclusive web address. Try ZipRecruiter for free. Head on over to ZipRecruiter.com/DailyWire. That's ZipRecruiter.com/DAILYWIRE. ZipRecruiter is the smartest way to hire. We've been using it at DailyWire ourselves for literally years. You should do the same. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/DailyWire and you can try it out for free. ZipRecruiter.com/DailyWire. The culture wars are acting as a shield and a spear for the far left. And meanwhile, they're just lying to everybody. So this is a breaking story from NBC News. Remember that Chinese spy balloon, one that Joe Biden allowed to float over the entire continental United States before shooting it down over the water? And then the next week, he just started shooting down balloons from Party City. Remember that? He was like, oh, no, we're handling it exactly the way it should have been handled. And oh my gosh, somebody had a birthday. Oh, that's a happy birthday, Jim. And you remember that? And we were told at the time that the Chinese spy balloon did not actually do any serious surveillance of the United States, that we were fully aware of what was going on. No, that was a lie, just like everything else the Biden administration apparently says. According to NBC News, the Chinese spy balloon that flew across the United States was able to gather intelligence from several sensitive American military sites, despite the Biden administration's efforts to block it from doing so, according to 2 current senior U.S. officials and 1 former senior administration official. China was able to control the balloon so it could make multiple passes over some of the sites, at times flying figure-8 formations over like American bases, and then transmitting the information it collected back to Beijing in real time. The intelligence China collected was mostly from electronic signals, which can be picked up from weapon systems or include communications from base personnel rather than images, according to the officials. The 3 officials said China could have gathered much more intelligence from sensitive sites if not for the administration's efforts to move around potential targets and obscure the balloon's ability to pick up their electronic signals by stopping them from broadcasting or emitting signals. You know what would have stopped that? Shooting it down. Shooting it down. After the balloon was shot down in February, the Biden administration said it was capable of collecting signals intelligence. They said it didn't really do any damage. There's no big deal. It was all totally fine. It was all, and after all, it was necessary to, it was overpopulated areas like Montana, where there are 7 people and a cow. It's the liars, they lie. It is not a surprise at all. Okay, one final news update, and then we'll get to a couple of things I like and a couple of things that I hate. So, quick news update. Andrew Tate has now been released from Romanian jail. He was released on Friday. According to Fox News, the Bucharest Court of Appeal ruled in Tate's favor after he challenged a judge's ruling to extend his detention for 30 days, according to Ramona Bola, a spokesperson for Romania's anti-organized crime agency. Here was a little bit of Andrew Tate expressing himself, and Tristan Tate, his brother, expressing themselves after they were released from jail.
I just want to say that the judges today made the right decision. I respect what they've done for me, and they will be vindicated in their decision because I'm an innocent man and I can't wait to prove it.
Hello, Andrew.
Freedom at last.
Mashallah, brother, mashallah, mashallah.
It's a little bit emotional. I've been in one room since last year, so it's a little bit emotional. I want to give respect, firstly, to the judges who heard us today, because they were very attentive and they listened to us and they let us free, so I have to give absolute respect to them. I truly believe that justice will be served in the end, There is 0% chance of me being found guilty of something I have not done. I maintain my absolute innocence, and I think most people understand this, and I look forward to being home.
Alrighty, so we'll keep you updated on any legal developments in that particular case. Okay, time for some things I like and then some things that I hate. Alrighty, so things that I like. So I have to admit that I have a bit of a debate with my friend Dennis Prager about public marriage proposals. I'm not a huge fan. So I tend to believe that the real marriage proposal, usually the way that it works is that you know, usually, whether the person who you're proposing to is going to say yes or not before you do these sort of public marriage proposals. There was the real marriage proposal where you had the conversation, and then there's the fake marriage proposal, which is where you do something super dramatic, and it's supposed to be a story that you can tell all your friends. I'm not a huge fan of that. Right? My marriage proposal story is pretty simple. My wife and I were having a conversation, and I'd been pushing her for about a week that we should get married. And finally, she said, she was concerned what people might think. It turns out she was 20 at the time. And so she looked at me and she said, people are full of bleep. The greatest thing she ever said to me. And then we got married. So there was no like big marriage proposal story. Dennis Prager, my friend, is a big fan of the marriage proposals. He thinks the public marriage proposals are good for society because they encourage marriage. Okay, I hear the argument, but he's wrong. So as absolute proof that he's wrong, this is one of the funniest videos of all time. This was a ridiculously stupid fan at Dodger Stadium who decided to propose to his girlfriend by, on opening day, disturbing a Major League Baseball game. So he jumped down into the field of play and then proceeded to turn around and take out a ring and get on a knee and propose to his girlfriend. And the rest is classic video history. Here he goes. Everybody's like, what are you even doing out there, dude? He turns around, he's proposing, he holds up the ring. And everybody's filming. It's shocking. And he's proposing. It's really nice. And bam! Yes! Full-on flying tackle from security. Just destroys the guy. And this is how all public proposals should go. I don't care if it's a Dodger Stadium. I don't care if it's in a restaurant. Next time that happens, somebody needs to tackle the guy. Because you know what? That true love is a matter between you and your spouse. It is until the actual wedding, which again is a public celebration of the wedding. Don't disturb other people's dinner or other people's baseball game because you want to make some sort of gesture. All right, guys, the rest of the show is continuing right now. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll be talking with Alan Dershowitz about the Trump indictment, what it means legally. If you're not a member, become a member. Use code Shapiro at checkout for 2 months free on all annual plans. Click the link in the description and join us.